Thank you, Frank. Great to see everyone here. Thanks for coming. It's great to have you guys here. Can I do a quick poll, an interactive survey? Who has played with Collabora online? If you raise a hand. Okay, perfect. So let me teach you to suck eggs quickly. In case you haven't tried it, this is what it does. It's high fidelity WYSIWYG rendering. It's good document support, all of those horrible binary and OpenXML file formats we can import and export, and increasingly more weird and wonderful things. There's a Quark Express filter being written right now, in case you remember that software. All of your document data can be rescued and brought into a beautiful Nextcloud environment. It allows collaboration around documents, which is just fantastic. Just quite simple at the moment, but much more is coming. So why Collabora Online? Well, obviously, all of these things get said so much in the conference. I'm not going to patronize you by saying them again, but controlling your data is cool, and having it under your control, not just the data, but also the CPU and the networking, is kind of nice. You know where it's going. Recently, we've done some good encrypted file support, so now you can do that. In other integrations, Collabora Online is used to great advantage to stop people syncing and stop them sharing and stop them downloading and printing and other things. And some of our customers just love to watermark documents, so you can't even take a screenshot and send it to your mate without anything bad. So some really good things there, and actually providing pixels rather than text to the browser actually has some sort of unexpected side effects. Other nice things are that although we can interoperate nicely with all these file formats, when it's in your browser, the file format is much less interesting to anyone. You get a web link, you go to the link, you see your document. If you want, you print it, if you're allowed. You can edit it, you can comment on it. Maybe you can't edit it, but you can comment on it. All of these are options. And so, but who cares what format it's in? It's there, right? And if I want it, I go to the link again. It's kind of simple. From our perspective, we try and sell support for Collabora Office, which is our PC version, but often it's a bit too good. That's the reality. The people just don't bother paying. They just deploy LibreOffice and they don't pay for support. But hopefully, if we can aggregate all the risk, into one machine, and then we can talk high availability setups and Nextcloud partnerships and routes to market, and we can come and help you, in a way that is, reassuring and comforting. And so by aggregating your risk, we can then, create a way to help make that all beautiful and smooth and a lovely working relationship. And then you can see how cool we are. And after you've done that, then you'll want to deploy it on your PCs as well. That's, well, I don't know. I can but hope. So we provide a development edition for people to play with the latest stuff. Here's the URL. So I was encouraged to see a few of these 1 million Docker pulls in the room, which is good. But somewhere there is a bigger room with a lot of other people in it that aren't quite there yet. And of course, that's the Docker image that's doing the heavy lifting inside, but there's a simple Nextcloud extension too. No core code changes required, just grab it, install it, and you're ready to go. I was going to do a live demo here, but I'm told by Jos that they don't work, just as a general philosophy, and to get on with it. But I'll show you a picture. I think Frank showed this picture earlier. It's pretty nice. Look at that. Even nicer, another one. Maybe we'll do one at the end if you run out of questions. So I think the global scale thing is super cool. I don't know if you noticed that, but that's awesome. And so I'm calling these things nodes nowadays, just to have a consistent terminology. We can get lots of these things behind your high availability stack or your global scale stack, and obviously bring them close to the data. Data gravity, isn't it good? Data sucks applications. But either way, we have a very nice way of efficiently reusing LibreOffice and making it fast to start, isolating your data inside jails so that each document is its own secure world, and then getting lots of people to talk to it. So I came here last year, and I was really thrilled actually to see last year's photo was smaller, so I look bigger in it. But this year I'm going to look smaller because so many more people have come, which is I don't know. Anyhow, but I should just show you what we did in the last year. So these are the specifically Nextcloud pieces. So one of the things I'm thrilled about is the performance improvement on this document prop find stuff. I think Lukash and someone did a whole lot of awesome work here to make the sharing of individual files really very much quicker. It was quite embarrassing to click on a file and see this spinning thing happening for ages. And it's all our fault because we went and shared lots of individual files, which is a bad idea anyway. But it's now way quicker, which is cool. And we also spent some time doing the server-side encryption of files, which Nextcloud supports, and getting that to work really nicely as well. Public link editing, again, something cool from Nextcloud, so you can share with all your friends your laundry list or something, and they can clean your clothes. And just a lot cleaner code. So again, Lukas has ripped out all sorts of evil things that existed in rich documents and made it, more beautiful, let's say. Yeah. Another rather important thing that actually just showed up is this timestamp detection. So one of the problems is that there's this sync and share thing behind, and it's pushing your document data out to all these Microsoft Office users, LibreOffice users, whoever around the place, and they like to edit and save. And it's important then that we can reload and get that data, notice it's changed, and reload the files, just to synchronize those two different kinds of clients nicely. So what else? So last year, we hadn't yet released the collaborative editing stuff. I demoed it, and it was hot and new. But then in December, we released it. So, multi-user, multi-cursor, and just then loads and loads of improvements every month to just build on that. And we're still shipping, feature improvements very regularly, every month or so, except we were on holiday in the summer, so forgive me. So lots of extra tweaks to the UI, extra functionality, input method support, weird text rendering for funky languages, responsive design for tablets. Your phone is a bit of a stretch, unless you have one of these, phone things that doesn't really fit in your pocket, and, I don't know. The keyboard and the document kind of, anyway. But it works more pleasantly now, even in very small form factors. And then, of course, we moved to 2.1. So this is towards the end of, towards the beginning of this year, I guess. One of the big things here is that we share all of our code with Collabora Office. So something like 95+% of the code is line for line identical. And this makes the rendering identical. So Windows, Macs, Linux, Collabora Online, all the same stuff. And that's really nice. So any bug we fix, any filter problem we do, every layout improvement, new features come straight into Collabora Online, which is great. And I'm not telling you about any of those features here. So I could talk for hours about obscure interoperability improvements, but probably you'd fall asleep. If you have trouble falling asleep, I can record a tape, and you can listen to it later. So from an online perspective, to improve performance, we just did lots of stuff. So actually 5.3 really helps reducing the memory footprint. We also have an out-of-memory killer that goes around looking for, I'm running out of memory, start aggressively removing things that haven't been used for a while. So if you use a document, we try and leave it around on the server loaded so it's ready to really quickly get back into and edit. We don't have to reload. But of course, that consumes at least some memory, and well, if you're short of memory, steal it. Improving the CPU performance wins, so we switched to Cairo rendering instead of our homegrown horrible thing, and that improved CPU performance, assembler optimized magic stuff, as well as adding anti-alias rendering. So that's quite a good win. And we also saved a whole load of bandwidth. It turns out sending unchanged tiles to the client is not a good idea. So there we are. We stopped doing that. Other huge features, I guess, were the sort of client-side animated commenting. So commenting used to be server-side rendered, and now it's a client-side overlay. So it's much more quicker, responsive, prettier, it animates, and it integrates with change tracking. So we've sort of unified commenting and change tracking. People are used to that from alternate Office suites. So I guess there's an example here at the bottom. You can see, here's someone's added a version 2.1. You can see something that's similar to a comment. And it ties into that thing, and I guess this guy just is differing. It's got a accept or reject piece there, which is what people expect. And that underlines the sort of the collaboration focus. We really want people to maybe not completely author the document, but at least comment on it. Change it, tweak it, and see what changed. so that they can share, and they're not always complaining about who broke my document. Like, I changed it and he edited it, and now there's 2 versions, and how do I merge them? And I have to have a phone call and say, stop editing the document, and then I wait 30 seconds, and then I load it, and then I change it, and then I save it, and then I say, wait 30 seconds. It's kind of a bit non-ideal. And so we can make that interactive and beautiful. And those tools are just really important. So if you're highly technical, we did a whole load of internal redesign. So the original code was based on blocking I/O. So all of the I/O we did with the users, and also with the Nextcloud was all blocking. And that's great, but it creates a whole load of need for threads. So every single user had, 2 to 4 threads each or something that were connected. This is not good. And yes, anyone that tells you about threading is a wonderful thing, I don't know. Anyway, so luckily we ripped all that out, and we rewrote it all to use effectively non-blocking I/O. There is a thread per document that handles, I guess, just the fundamental scalability requirements of having many users. But, just making this very much simpler. You can read the code now, and you can even understand it. And you can reason about it, And at the end of the day, it turns out there's only one network cable coming out of the machine. Okay, so I simplify. There could be lots of network cables, but at the end of the day, if you're sending a packet, someone else isn't. So having 10 threads just trying to do it at once, I don't know. Anyway, we'll see. It's a lot simpler. It scales better, it performs better, and everything is good. We also did a whole load of things around security. I guess a much better content security policy stuff. We did a whole load of work around headers there. We put setcomp BPF. The preemptive piece here is quite funky. So setcomp, it essentially adds a Berkeley packet filter. I don't know if you know what Berkeley packet filters are, but they allow you to filter your network packets. And the Linux kernel guys have added this to kernel APIs. So every time you call an API in the kernel, like open or close or read or write, or you can go, oh, I don't like that one. Don't let them do that. And so to avoid anyone, even if they can break out somehow through our many layers of security in these document jails, we've audited all of the kernel system calls and gone, I don't like that one. I don't think we should use that one. They should probably not do that. The NUMA support pinning pages, there have been some security issues in the past, so we'll just chop all of these out. So there's a relatively large number of syscalls we just totally turn off. And if you try and use one, you find you're dead. So don't do that. What else? Oh yeah, just to improve password hashing. So quite a chunk of work on improving security and just really locking it down even further. Improving calc, making it prettier, more rows. Everyone wants their million rows in calc, and we're halfway there now. So that's great. Some more work coming. But either way, big spreadsheets. If you use the alternatives, if you go to Microsoft Office Online, you'll discover it maxes out at a 5 megabyte spreadsheet. There's a hard size limit of 5 megabytes. So actually, you can get a million rows as long as you don't put much in them. But either way, we can really scale and get some serious data there and calculate it quickly on a big server, and so it's good. And it's interesting. We get often sysadmins and people use lists and they use spreadsheets for it because, well, why not? It's pretty, isn't it? And it's easy. What else? Avatar support. So this is something we're just begging, as we wander around the conference, we find a Nextcloud person, we just mention, that we have all of this support and all we really want is just a URL to your avatar and, it'll all look beautiful. Adding the ability to call these people or chat with them and so on in the UI. So we've added functionality for that. I'm optimistic it will be rapidly connected and gorgeous. The admin console's been improved too, so you can sort by users, so not just by documents, but you can see who is consuming resources or doing something foolish, and you can see where the documents are modified, which is nice before you say kill them, because they're doing something silly. 2.1.3, which just came out, I think, last week, while I was on vacation, has a whole load of extra cool stuff like chart sub-object editing and positioning. So there's a whole load of things in there that, again, you can't do in Office Online. So you can go in and you can move and rearrange and design an existing chart and, full stuff around. Office Online has some pre-canned templates and little JavaScript pop-ups you can enter plain text in, but it's nowhere near as powerful. And we're bringing it to new sort of platforms, some of the older things. I guess SLES 11 SP4. We have a customer that wants this thing. some pretty old stuff, and of course some pretty new stuff. Debian 9. We've also added a whole lot of config stuff so that you can lock down things even further. So you can limit how much memory each document can use, or file size, and so on and so on, to help just give people more confidence that no one comes along and blows stuff up. So one of the things we're trying to do is just release lots of these small incremental features as part of the Collabora Online 2.1 release schedule. So you don't have to wait for a big release to get some small, safe, reviewed patch into it. But then, of course, there are some bigger things. There are more meaty that we need to do a sort of major release for and revalidate everything and a much longer testing cycle. And so I think the next thing then for us really is this rich editing. So one of the interesting things about LibreOffice is that it has about 1 million plus lines of user interface code in it. And it does all sorts of crazy things, these border options. You can have all kinds of different weird, crazy stuff here in the spreadsheet, crazy number formatting and so on. Your styles for your pages, it can be even, odd, left, right, with alternate numbering up and down, and strange alignments and hierarchical this. And yeah, it's quite exciting. And people use this stuff. I mean, that's the weird thing about it. Pivot tables, again, there's just innumerable options of how you want to sort or filter and, present data and so on. And so we really want to not rewrite those in JavaScript, just because it's quite a lot of code, 1 million lines. And if we can reuse those, that would be great. So we already have some work going on here to tunnel these dialogues through. It's looking very promising. And so hopefully we will soon not only be, the best for privacy, the best for, control and all this sort of thing, but also the most feature-rich online Office suite that you can get anywhere, which is really our goal for 3.0, just to sort of max out the feature charts. They'll have bullets in them everywhere. It's going to be great. So another thing is, just as a minor feature, it'll almost certainly come in 2.1, is the save as functionality. Often. It's just a bit irritating. I find myself using Nextcloud, and if I want a new agenda or something, I tend to download the file to my local machine, rename it, and then upload it. Because save as or creating a copy and then, I don't know, there's probably some button to do it, I just don't know about. But either way, it would be nice to have that inside the thing, so you load the document and you can save it as, retitle it as something else and get typing. I think another point to make is that your feature here is not some kind of bad joke. Most of the features you see here, most of the prioritization of our roadmap is really based on customer feedback, partner feedback, input from all of you guys, and we're really extremely grateful to our partners to provide good feedback for a start, and just get excited about the product and say, oh, if only we had this bit, we could do this new stuff. So it's cool. Hardware sizing. Okay, I think I told everyone this last year. It's kind of pretty obvious. We still are working on getting all of these numbers down, or up, or down. I suppose down mostly. One of the nice things there is significantly reducing the RAM requirement per active user. My hope is that AMD is currently making processors with unfeasible numbers of threads. And while they may be NUMA machines, that actually doesn't matter because none of our documents actually talk to each other. So, I mean, the ideal is a NUMA or a Blade or whatever kind of setup you want. We don't need some massive SMP ring buffered monster. So, of course, there's a diversity factor. I don't know how many of your 10, 100,000 users are actually typing concurrently. Probably not all of them. So there's one reduction there. And then, I don't know, this laptop here is good for serving 80 people live or so. It's got eight threads in it and easily enough RAM and easily enough bandwidth for that. So today, I think we're looking pretty good. Obviously, if you want to be running 100,000 concurrently live editing machines, then you have quite a big problem, You need to do quite a bit of work scaling. But on the other hand, there are not really any single points of failure here. So one of the nice things about scaling Collabora Online is that we don't have a database in the back end. We rely on Nextcloud for that. We don't have we don't have such a need for some of the scaling infrastructure because ultimately each of these documents is broadly stateless. It saves into Nextcloud. It does all the authentication through Nextcloud. It's really an adjunct, an appendage, a stateless sort of beast of its own. And to be fair, Nextcloud does a lot of the hard work here, so kudos to them. And we sort of ride along, which is great. We just have simple problems like, multi-page table layout loops to deal with, So in terms of scalability, it's really a network fabric problem rather than a design architecture thing, putting lots of these side by side. And so, anyway, so you see drawings like this that say pretty much that, but in pictures. So you enjoy the other 900 words that we're missing. The real key attribute at the bottom is just to make sure that everybody editing the same document goes to the same machine. So load balancing based on this WAPI source parameter, which essentially is the unique identifier for that document, if I remember it correctly. And the reason for that is that there's nothing very complicated in our collaboration. It's everybody into the same process space, into the same machine, editing on the same document. And so, it's relatively simple to deal with conflicts. You just see them as they happen, and you go, oh, that was bad. I should press backspace, or I should undo that, or I should go somewhere else. Because you're actually there, you're actually resolving them as they happen, in collaboration with your friends. So, yeah, so conflicts are kind of not a problem at all. Oh, pretty customers. I love this, particularly the first item. It's close to my heart. For some reason in Germany, we have a lot of churches that come to us. I don't know, maybe I should have like a ministry to churches doing things. But it's always quite amusing. We have to make sure that the Catholic Church gets the same price as the the evangelical church. It's very important, sort of equality everywhere, to make sure it's all fair. Regio IT, again, growing their number of users out there, and that's really encouraging. Strangely, the majority of Nextcloud users, customers that we actually have signed, didn't agree yet to share their details. Jos is chasing people left and right to get their logos on screens and so on. But that's pretty much that. I'm nearly done. And then we can have questions. So why Collabora? Well, we're awesome, obviously. We're doing all the work. That's the other slight side. But we also provide some great services. So we have a nice customer portal and beautiful binary access, update repositories, technical documentation, help with setup and deployment, user manuals, ticketing, fixing, and of course, I think most importantly, that product management interaction. So, you need this thing, well, we'll do it. It'll go into our plan. And, money talks. The more money you have, the more you put into it, the more we're interested in doing stuff. Of course, we do consultancy as well, but we really just prefer to, delight our customers. So, file your tickets and we'll see what we can do, Let's make it all better. So here we are. This is what I said. It's wonderful. That's pretty much the summary. And, yeah, and we're the driving force behind it. So thank you for listening. You've been very good. Thank you. Haben wir Zeit for questions? Fragen, ja, schrecklich. Questions, anyone questions? Aha, sir, let me repeat it. Sure. Can you tell us about licensing? Yeah, sure. So, everything that you see here is free software. It's all effectively Mozilla Public License v2. And you can compile it yourself. There's no reason why not. Although even quite large companies come to me and go, "Oh, how do you compile it?" Like this, and go, "Oh, well, yeah. It's not, it's not immediate, not terribly quick. LibreOffice, 8 million lines and complexity, but we, it's documented. It's just a matter of, getting on with it. If you prefer to have someone that is, absolutely expert in this and reads the security list and so on, then we'll sell you, support and maintenance services. As part of that, we charge per user for our subscriptions, maintenance subscriptions. And so we license binaries under some license that helps us do that. But all the source is open. It's all free software. Make sense? Sure. Yep. Home use. Yes, the code Docker image is suitable for home use. It's slightly limited. So there's a limit of something like 20 documents open concurrently. The reason that we do that is twofold. Actually, the Document Foundation does the same thing, which is interesting. So we provide an image for them. The reason is that we think that if you're using this for outside the home for really large numbers of users, and you're doing it without support, you're likely to have problems, and then you're likely to blame someone. And we don't want to be blamed for your poor decisions, you know? I mean, you can go and build it yourself, you know? But, you know, we really would love to talk to those people, talk to someone that can actually, you know, support you in that environment. So, yeah, we don't think it's sensible to do it without support. So, hey, you know, help grow the community, reinvest, and get involved with that. Does that make sense? Perfect, perfect. So, yeah, we're trying to look socially responsible whilst, you know, restricting supply. It's amazing, isn't it? Sir, no. Any other questions? I've got another 1 minute. Sir, go for it.
There are some if you store a Vim document with LibreOffice,
sure.
there are features that they aren't support.
Sure.
So does Collabora Online behave like a local LibreOffice and wipe those features out of the document?
Yeah. So, of course, so the question is, what do we do about interoperability where we don't understand a feature? It's a good question. So the first point is that we have versioning in Nextcloud. So like it is always there, right? That's the hope, you know, the old version. I think the second thing to say is that we're doing really very well. So LibreOffice is increasingly awesome at not losing things, which is good. That's a core competence, not losing things. Sometimes we preserve things that we don't understand what they are as well. So we look in the XML file and go, well, that's a mad idea. We don't have this feature yet, but hey, we should keep it and write it again. So there's some good things there. But yeah, if you're using some really weird and obscure functionality, you know, like an OLAP cube query on a remote database, something, yeah, probably it's not for you. But have you tried that in Google Docs? You know, have you tried it in Microsoft Excel online? So if you load an Excel file that has smart art in it or form fields, you get a dialogue in Excel online saying, sorry, we can't read our own file format. We're going to throw these things away when you save it. I mean, it's that simple. So I think in the online space, you know, we have a chance to excel. We can beat Google Docs. We can beat Microsoft Office even online on their own file format, on their own software. So you know, so I'm optimistic that it's a useful tool. It's not the perfect tool for everyone, for every use case, but it's pretty awesome. And yeah, and so I don't think we need to be ashamed in any way of any of these things. I think there's just a, you know, and we're improving. And hey, if you're a customer and you want that OLAP cube, we can fix it for you. You know, there's no reason why not. It's easy to do. Good. I think. Oh, Frank. Okay, but I'm going to leave you to last because then I might get another one. Sir, in the. I'm quite an expert at email notifications. Oh, cool. Uh-huh.
My question is, if you have the multi-user feature, is there any way that the editors get back the information that somebody has edited the document in the meantime, or is this only done via the activity of the file has been changed?
Okay. So if a file has been changed, so there are two things, so I'll rephrase the question just for the recording. Is there any way that people get notified of a document being changed underneath them? And yeah, so at the moment we have both a save button in the UI, so you click save, and also a reload button in the browser, and both of these are necessary for this instance, simply because the way the synchronization happens, we are not notified when a file changes underneath us. So we have to have a new user come in, or a reload come in, to recheck the timestamp and go, oh, it changed. We should reload. In a similar way, although we auto-save about every minute, or depending how fast you're typing, you know, maybe 5 minutes, something like that. Although we do that, again, we want to be able to control synchronization. So the user hits save, they know it's gone to Nextcloud, they wait their 30 seconds, and they, you know, walk over there, and it's synchronized to their PC as well. So Frank talked about the benefit of this as not being, you know, needing to do this export and re-import and this sort of thing. The flip side of that, of course, is that you have some of these UI things there. But I think it's a good choice. I think it makes sense. People understand. Shoot. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Sure. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. It's a great idea. Sure. So we can do that with redlining. So we can redline the document and see what was changed, obviously with comments. But I mean, the whole email notification, I'm sure, Nextcloud has a great email notification story. If you want that, we can do it. But you can imagine all sorts of cool things, how many documents changed since I last edited, who has come and given, you can see views where it would show comments on documents, and, we could do something really lush and rich. All we need is a customer with a vision, that wants to see this happen, and, I can help do it. So great ideas, good ideas. I'm filing them even now. I can see Lucas filing them as well. Look at that. Frank, before they drag me away,
So I'm just adding something. I mean, in Nextcloud itself, you have the activity stream where you can actually see what people did. And with the latest version, or I think Nextcloud 11, we also introduced like activities based on certain files and folders. So you can just go into the folder and go to the sidebar, and then you see what happened in your vacation, basically there. So you can do that. And then my own question, which is actually not really my question because I'm repeating like a bug report I heard lately. I don't have it for myself, but someone told me that they have an issue that that the text flow of a document is different in LibreOffice and in LibreOffice Online. And this is weird. Could this be like a font that's not installed or something?
Yes. Thank you, Frank, for the simple question. Yeah. No, it's a good point. So if you have weird and custom fonts in your organization and you've commissioned, foo font to be used everywhere, then you can install that into your Collabora Online instance, and everyone will get it. I guess it's just one of those deployment things that can be a pain to manage. But at least you manage a few servers rather than all of those PCs out there. You can also embed fonts in documents, both in ODF, docx. I don't think doc. So that the font is then used actually out of the document. And Microsoft have a highly secure DRM system to avoid these fonts, which are just in a zip file being reused. And the system is to replace the first 4 bytes, which should read TTF, with 000. So I'm helping you circumvent copyright here. But anyway, yes. So yes, it's some pretty cool stuff. But we do embed the metric compatible fonts that are sort of C* compatible for the default fonts in Microsoft templates. So broadly, metric shouldn't be a huge problem, and it should work nicely. That's the hope. Okay. Well, thanks so very much. Good to see you here. Talk to me later. Bye.